because I'm like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to make it really hard. So if my call time was 6 a.m., which oftentimes it was, I was up at 3:30 a.m. working out, doing my journal, doing my meditation to show up to set and be the best utility woman I could for everyone around me.
Welcome to Get Scene Unscripted. I'm your host, Jesse Malinowski. We are going to dive into acting insights, meet industry pros, and master the business. Don't forget to subscribe and share. We're keeping you behind the scenes and ahead of the game. What's going on, everyone? I'm Jesse Malinowski. This is Get Scene Unscripted. Welcome back if you are coming back. Thanks so much. If you're subscribed, thank you. If you're not subscribed, this is your sign to subscribe. If this is your first time watching, thanks so much. Thank you for choosing our podcast to help you on your actor journey and get ready for an awesome episode as I have the beautiful actress, Adrian Eppley, in the house.
Thanks for having me, Jesse.
How are you?
I'm good.
Awesome. I love it. Well, it's always so great to chat with you. I mean, we had a podcast before the podcast already. Yeah. But I'm interested to talk to you for so many different reasons. But the first thing I'll jump into is we met in New York. And so you were living in New York, came to Atlanta, and you've been here. How long have you been here now?
It's been 5 years now.
It's been 5 years? Yeah. What ultimately made that decision to move to Atlanta? And I guess, how are you feeling about it when you compare the markets? Because I think a lot of actors, and I think especially ones in the Southeast or outside of the Southeast even, are wonder, what market do I go to? You know, New York, LA, Atlanta, and I think other markets are beginning to pop up now too. So what ultimately made that decision, and what's been your experience so far?
Yeah, I think initially, being in New York for 5 years, it wears on you. Mm-hmm. And I grew up in the South. My family's in North Carolina, and I'm very family oriented. And at this point in time, I think I had 3 nieces. I now have 8 nieces and nephews. But I knew that they were expanding their families, and I missed so many holidays and stuff. And I was like, I could get closer to them again. And so I had more of this curiosity. And then this man named Jesse Malinowski. No, I had started, they actually in New York, I did tons of classes up there. They started holding workshops. And I went to one of the interest groups about Atlanta, and I learned a lot. And I was like, this seems like a possibility. And then I did a class with you. And it was really an if-then situation. I finally started to understand or feel like I could understand the Atlanta market. But my quality of life in New York was depleting. You know, I was bartending and on my feet constantly, stress overload, it's sensory overload all the time there. So you're in constant fight or flight. So every time I would go home to North Carolina, I was like, oh, that's so peaceful. Yeah. So anyways, it was an if-then situation. I actually came down to Atlanta. It was MLK weekend circa 2019. And I met with tons of agents, one of them being Jason. And I said, if I got an agent, then I'll move. And then that decision will be made for me.
Yeah.
And I did. So I packed up all my stuff and moved to Atlanta. And while I was here, once I found out I had the agent, I came down to look at apartments. And I was like, I'm really excited now.
Yeah.
Because I was living in half of my living room with no closet. And if you know me, how did I do it? And sharing a bathroom with 3 girls and a few rats. But
yep, that's how it goes. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't sure if the class that I did in New York would get brought up, but yeah, that story is still so wild to me that that's how Adrian and I met, and then all of a sudden I'm at a small little pool party in Atlanta, and then there she is, and I'm like, what the, oh my gosh, it was wild.
You actually moved.
Yeah. So I mean that's so awesome. Yeah, I was in New York for 5 years too, and there's just this sense of I think you just said it best, this wear on you. I always described, and I love New York. I love going back. I love visiting. But there's something about I don't know, I always talk about the travel. I'm there's something about when you're like out and about, whether you're out to dinner or out for a class or something, there's a moment when you're like, okay, now I want to go home, right?
Yeah.
Everybody like understands like, okay, now it's time to go home. But like in New York, that's not how it works. Like when you're like, okay, now I want to go home, now there's this like huge effort to go home. And there is like something special about like now just walking out to your car.
Or going to the grocery store and putting groceries in your car
Yeah.
versus
The basket or carrying them.
I wish I got a basket. It was I had too much ego
You had
to
too much
get
ego?
a basket. Yeah. It was like 23. I could handle
you're
it.
like, no. Oh my God, I remember when I went to New York, the like all of the like hot girls in my school show up in like high heels. And they're like, and I remember at the orientation, they're like, you're gonna not want to wear those. And all the girls were like, no, I'm wearing them. And then that lasted all of about, 4 days maybe. And their feet were like shredded. And they're like, oh, okay, now these are what flats are, or tennis shoes even.
Well, yeah, sneakers are my game ever since New York. And I don't wear flip-flops really anymore because one time I was walking home in flip-flops from work and I kicked a rat on the way home. I was scarred. I seriously, I think I'll wear them to the beach or to the pool, but I'll never wear like the tong ones because it happened in my rainbows. It was disgusting. All of that to say, though, I think no matter what market you're considering to pursue an acting career, first off, we live in this virtual world now where you can make it happen wherever.
Yeah, it's true.
And it wasn't quite like that when I made the decision to move. But the biggest difference for me, and I mean, energy doesn't lie. It doesn't lie in your self-tapes. It doesn't lie in anything you do in life. Go where you feel like you can have a life that you want.
Yes.
And if the hustle and bustle in New York is it, then great. That's just the longevity of that wasn't resonating with me. And once I moved to Atlanta, I was like, oh, I can breathe. And then in my work, I could start to breathe a little. And I think just people need to pay attention to quality of life and what makes you feel happy, because it doesn't matter what you're doing, pursuing acting or any career. If you're not happy with your surroundings, it's just, even if you get the dream role, you're not going to be fulfilled.
All right, listen up. Our Booked It Challenge is so close. Oh my goodness. Our Booked It Challenge is one of my favorite challenges that we do each year. And I'll tell you, when I first created this challenge, I was a little bit nervous because I was like, oh my gosh, how are we going to create something where like people actually have to book jobs? Like that's not something in our control. But I took a leap of faith. I created the challenge. I called it the Booked It Challenge. And wouldn't you know, every single year, people book jobs. It's crazy. So this year, it could be you. This challenge is very simple. We're together for 4 weeks. We bring in an industry pro all 4 weeks, and we work on auditions. I make it so simple, so easy. 1, I give you some audition techniques to help you book the job once you have the audition. And the second is I give you some techniques to get more auditions. One of the things I've realized in being an actor over the last 20 years is that if you get more opportunities, you have more chances to book the job. So we need to increase our chances, and then the chances that we do get, we need to increase the quality of our auditions. So we're going to teach you exactly how to do all of those things. So sign up for our Booked It Challenge. It's only $37, and there's a $5 off promo in the description. So the link is there. The promo is there. Head there right now and come join us for our incredible Booked It Challenge. That's so true. And thank you for saying that, because like, you're right. Like that's what's most important. And I think, especially now, it's like, understand that I think like if we rewind for like when you moved to New York and like when I was in New York, it's like it was like New York or LA. Like those are the only options really, right? Mm-hmm. Like I also had an agent in Florida, and like sure I was like doing some like little commercials or like some things there, but like not really, But like now it really is a different time where you can be in different places. Like sure you might have to work local, like there's some logistics that you need to get figured out. But you should be where you're happy. How do you balance that like in your life even now and make that a priority?
I think it actually wasn't COVID for me. It was the strike where I really started to pay attention to like balancing the things in life that make me happy and make me feel fulfilled outside of what we do, because most of the time we're not on set every day, even if we want to be. So I don't know. It's a balancing act. I have a full-time job and like 2 other side hustles, which took me out of bartending. And that brought a lot of peace and balance into my life. It's also a creative endeavor to an extent. And part of what really brings me balance is one of my mantras. One of my mantras is, by creating, I'm serving my creator. So that's either it's creating a conversation with you here now, if I'm with friends or with family, like creating a memory. In my marketing job, it's sometimes creating things for other people that make them happy. And acting, obviously, it's creating some kind of form of connection, right? So I think once you find your why, you can balance everything a lot more strategically. Like, you can find the beauty in being an artist in every area of your life.
I think, yeah, and I think that's so important. And I think it's just like, I think it's fine in being an artist to like understand that like we need more than just that.
Yeah.
You know? And I think at some point on our journey, we think like sometimes we have to like suffer for our art, which is just simply not true. And then also that like, oh, if I'm like all in and this is everything to me, then it will work and I will be happy and fulfilled. And like, God, that is like furthest from the truth, you know? So it's like, understand that like you're probably going to be happier if you have some more money, right? And it's not about money makes you happy, but it's just about like being able to do things you want to do, like travel or eat where you want to eat or whatever it might be. So it's like, and having balance and other hobbies and friends, like you talked about coming back mainly because of family. Like it wasn't like, oh, the Atlanta market is, I think, the best market. It's like, I want to be in your family and like, oh, I think I can still do this acting thing, which is great. And I can still grow a career in the Southeast. It's like all these other things are so important.
For sure. I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Speaking of being on set every day, you doubled Michelle Monaghan in Echoes.
Yeah.
Which, how long? And tell everybody exactly what I mean by doubled.
Right. So when this audition came in, it didn't make sense to me. I got the audition and it was for Erica Bream. And so my excitement was only lying around that was my second time reading for her. I was like, yay, she's seeing me again.
Yeah.
What is this? And they asked for like a lot of photos and stuff. I didn't realize, essentially, have you seen Orphan Black?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's where my research came in, because she had an acting double for all of the people she was playing.
Right.
And they did some behind the scenes stuff. And that kind of painted a picture of what it would be, because essentially you need someone to perform off of, especially when you're doing both performances. So the role itself was to be an acting double, and it turned into so many other amazing things. But I went into it being like, this is weird. Let's get in front of Erica Bream. You know, it was kind of funny in that way. But that mutated really quickly. It was really fun.
I mean, that must have been the most, I don't know, the best freaking acting intensive ever.
Oh, it was unlike anything else. I didn't, you do I had the first round audition where you submit a bunch of photos, and I had to do the audition as one of the twins and then the other twin. Sent that in. And then I had a Zoom call back, and I was like, the Zoom call back was with Erica Bream and the director, Kat Candler, who's one of the producers on Murdoch Murders right now. But I was like, oh, that was my first time doing a Zoom with the director. I was like, oh, this is kind of like a big deal. I don't get it. Why is this so important? And then I had to drive to Wilmington to do a chemistry read with Michelle.
Wow.
So she is the most amazing human. And after we did our chemistry read, they did a bunch of like camera work. And then I think she maybe had a hand in the decision.
I'm sure.
I'm
sure.
Yeah. So,
because every single scene she's acting with the twin, the other person, like you're there. I mean,
yeah,
it's like every week. I mean, how many days a week were you filming and working?
So when it started, in the first 2 episodes, the twins weren't really around each other yet. But by the end of it, it was sometimes 6 days a week, almost 16 hours a week. I mean, it was a lot of work, overnights. I was there for about 6 months. We did about 4 to 5 months in Wilmington. And then we went to LA to shoot, which wasn't all of January, but it took holidays and stuff. It took up a lot of January. So it was a huge amount of time. And I think it's so funny. We get auditions and it says like recurring guest star, series regular. And we're like, this is the thing that's going to change my career. That experience, I feel so blessed and I'm so grateful for it still to this day, because I got to be a series regular. I mean, I was there more than some of the series regulars.
Yeah.
Probably most of them, actually. But besides her. But that being said, I got to be and experience what it's like to be a series regular and to be a part of the team and to see a lot of Atlanta actors come and go for co-stars and like how different people handled themselves. I got obviously a master class in acting from Michelle, but the biggest thing for me was understanding the business, and back to the point of energy, like that woman, I am so lucky that it was her, because it could have been someone not kind. That woman, she's number 1 and 2 on the call sheet, which typically they do set the tone. Or, director sometimes, lots of people can affect the energy. I know she was so tired, and she showed up every single day with a smile on her face. And yeah, I just got to experience like the highs and lows of being in a position like her. I ended up being an assistant to her. I was whatever she needed. I was a utility woman. I said yes to everything. Ended up doing stunts. I worked with an intimacy coordinator. I did I do hand modeling in general, but I did a lot of that stuff. It was a very technical job. So every little movement matters, and I really wanted to honor what she was doing on the other side. But sometimes I would go into the scene and she hasn't done the other side, so it took a lot of communication and understanding what she would do and studying her. But the way some of the camera work was, I had to match the exact same movement as her, and sometimes I think I just kind of blacked out for some of it, but I would pull it off, and I was able to do it. As time went on, it was like we could do it in 1 or 2. And it's very difficult. Like if she put her hand like this on the glass, I would have to do it at the exact same time, at the exact same line. So yeah, we have to run it the same way every single time, both sides.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. How hard was it? I mean, I feel like this really, because I bring that up because I remember when I was in 24 Legacy, Corey Hawkins was number 1 on the call sheet, and my scenes were with him. And because I filmed for a good amount of time on that show, I kind of came kind of cool with him, and we exchanged numbers. And so I was trying to hang out with him outside of set. And it was just like, I mean, his schedule was just like insane. And like when he was not filming, he was doing stunt training and rehearsing fights, and he's like, and then I like have to sleep, and I just remember being like, and I remember one of the times I was texting him, like I was just drinking at a bar or something, and I'm like, he's doing like stunt training and I'm like just chilling, and I'm like, I actually don't know if I would be like ready right now in my life and this is many years ago now, but like I don't know that I'd really truly be ready to like do it as a series regular. You know what I mean? Like do everything that's expected of you. So that's why I asked, like, truly how hard is it? Because I think everyone is like, I'm ready. I can do it. I want to get it. And I'm like, I don't think you're ready.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many elements at play. I mean, the schedule was tough. First off, I was isolated. I was in Wilmington, North Carolina, living in a hotel room for 5 months by myself. Didn't know anyone there. And that alone can be hard. So
yeah,
that element was difficult. And then the schedule progressed because she needed more support from me. So then I was there every day, whether I was doing a scene or not. Which there's downtime there, but there's also magical moments in me standing there studying everything, what everyone's responsible to do. So I probably could have made it easier, but I was like, I'm taking every little piece of this that I can to prepare me to be what she's like, to prepare myself to be her one day, not be her, but be in
Yeah,
her
yeah, yeah.
position. And I don't think it's a magical thing, because so many times since then I've gone on set for one day and it can feel kind of like, did I matter?
Yeah.
And I think what I have now from that experience, energy and confidence walking onto any set and understanding what everyone's doing and how hard they're working every single day. Because, we go into hair and makeup and we don't think about the night that they had last night and the cleanup. I got to witness all of every little piece of everything. And that part was magical, but it was really exhausting. I was so tired, but I also, to the point of like the guy that was doing the stunt rehearsals and all this stuff, I was involved in all of that. Like anything Michelle did, I was there. And over time, I got to have a little bit of creative not ideas around her performance, but like, oh yeah, like this feels good. How do you feel doing this? If it was a movement or something like that. But I did make it more challenging on myself, because I'm like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to make it really hard. So if my call time was 6 a.m., which oftentimes it was, I was up at 3:30 a.m. working out, doing my journal, doing my meditation to show up to set and be the best utility woman I could for everyone around me. So, I treated it like I was a Marvel superhero, and I also had to stay the same size as her. So, because we were wearing the same clothes. So, yeah, you figure it out, and it was, it was difficult, but there was definitely a lot of times where I was crying and I didn't really understand why.
Really?
And I think that was more of the loneliness. And it wasn't because and there was times we cried together and we also laughed together, because it was hard on both of us. It was very difficult. But I remember she said to me, if you can do this, you can do anything. Wow. If you can get through this and you enjoy it. And that was the weird part, is I really enjoyed it. And prior to Echoes happening, I was ready to give up. And I just was tapped out. I felt defeated. And I went into the experience with, well, if I like this, there's no glory in it. I'm just there. If I like this, then I'll do this for the rest of my life. And I walked away from it and I was like, I will do this for the rest of my life. And the habits that I developed and the habits that I saw other people on set, the series regulars, how they showed up and how they took care of themselves, like, that is how I'm going to treat my life. I'm treating my life every single day that I'm going to walk on set and be a series regular, even if it never happens. Energetically, I know what it feels like and what it requires. We have to be superhuman.
Yeah. What were you not doing prior to that job that you're like, oh, I need to be doing these things to be ready?
Well, they talk about the 10,000 hours. I don't know how many hours, but it was a lot of hours. And there's something to that. I didn't have as much. I think I had done one SAG project prior to that, other than that, like before it was like Lifetime movies. Yeah. So just that in general, that made a huge impact, being around such professional people and that environment. But in regards to my work, I think it was just this air of confidence, because I went through the whole experience and really there wasn't any glory, right? Not that she wasn't grateful or, there was magical moments, but at the end, I really felt like I had made a difference by being there. And not only that, but like a friend that I'll have for life. And I also, Erica Bream, I ended up taking a class of hers as soon as I finished Echoes, because, you got to keep working. And it was a series regular class, and you had to do a whole application to submit, and she accepted me. And through our conversations, we had a few one-on-ones in that class. She told me how many times the producers reached out to her thanking her for me. Oh, wow. And I didn't know any of that at the time, where I'm like going home crying, like, this is so hard. Yeah, yeah. And you don't really know until you get to the other side. But yeah, I'm so grateful for that entire experience. It taught me everything that I know. I think I just walked into my auditions after that with an air of confidence. And I don't want to necessarily say it was from words of affirmation from these top-notch industry people. I think I just did it every day. I did it every single day for 6 months in some capacity. That I walked into doing the other stuff. What I noticed in my work was, I guess, definitely more grounded, but I wasn't second guessing. I don't really second guess myself anymore. And it's not that when we were on set, I didn't see people second guess their work. It happens when you're tired and sleep deprived and running on empty. You're going to second guess your stuff. So if I'm running on empty, I'm not going to do an audition. And I used to operate that way prior to doing Echoes. I'm like, I will do it when I feel energetically ready to do it and with confidence, I guess.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think it actually goes, and it's a really solid full circle moment to what we were talking about before of like these other things that we need to have in our life are going to help fill that cup. And we can't pour from an empty cup is essentially what you're saying.
Totally. And that's partially, so that'll happen pre-strike. And then after Echoes, I was like, acting is everything, you know? And then the strike happened and I'm like, well, it's not everything. We need to pay attention to all areas of our life. But I say superhuman because it's what's required of us, like mentally, physically, even like your sleep matters when you're doing auditions. So I continued being superhuman, but all of my energy was going towards acting because I was like, now I love this. Now I'm addicted. I need to be back on set. And then the strike happened. So then I was like, oh, this is not the only thing that matters in my life. Going on a vacation because I want to see the world in this one life I get to live also matters.
Yes.
And so does saying no to something that comes through if it doesn't align with me and like what I want. I don't think I really ever do that. But, you know, having those boundaries for myself and understanding that I need to have fun in life. It can't be work all the time. I know you understand that.
Yeah.
And you guys are so good. You and Candy are so good about like intentional time of stepping away and enjoying all the hard work you put in. I was going nonstop hard work, superhuman all the time without having those moments of like, okay, what's it all for?
Yes, exactly. I love that.
So,
Can you talk about, I feel like, and I've experienced this when you get a job and you're on set for an extended period of time, there really is like something just so truly magical and like this pure like kind of happiness about it. That, like, you know, I guess unless the set is like shit for some reason, then maybe not. But like normally that's not the case. Can you talk? Because I feel like this probably doesn't get talked about too often, and you could really, I think, shed some light on it, which is how did you deal with rap?
you mean like the final?
Yeah. Like, okay, now this 6 months is over and now I go back to auditioning and, oh, I just booked a 1-day thing. Like, I'm supposed to be happy, but am I?
This is a really interesting question because when Echoes came in, I got to quit bartending for the first time since I graduated Clemson University. Like, I have a degree. I could have gotten a real job, I now realize. You know. But my biggest thing with returning from Echoes, because my body, I wasn't on my feet all the time. Well, I was on my feet all the time, but not to the extent of bartending. I was like, my nervous system is so happy that whenever this is over, I will not bartend again. I do not know what is next, but it was probably around November I started to apply for jobs. And then my marketing job came through from someone that I knew from bartending. And so I already had something awaiting me on the other side, which I think is really important. There were so many fantasies about when I rapped because I wanted to celebrate it, right? I wanted to go to Paris really bad. I still haven't done that. But work begets work.
Work begets work, sure.
Yeah. So I was working nonstop. So no surprise. The day I got back from LA, which was our final rap, I started my new job the next day. So just work never stopped. But like, are you the emotional aspect of it?
Well, I think you brought up a really good point in just having something next.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people might forget that and just be like, oh, the next thing will come to me. And that's not necessarily true. You got to go out and get it. But yeah, I mean, I do think also the emotional aspect and dealing with that, I think can be tough. I'm sure it was tough.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like summer. It actually feels like summer camp. Did you ever do summer camp?
Yeah. Summer camp was the best.
Yeah. And then you leave and it's like, oh my God, you're my best friend forever. And I've known you a week. But this was 6 months of my life. And, I wondered, will I ever see these people again? I don't know. And there's something bittersweet about it. Like it does still kind of choke me up. I still have the video. Someone was so kind to record it. When I rapped in Wilmington, Michelle gave me this like really beautiful speech in front of everyone. And it was like, that was all I needed, So yeah, it's still emotional. Like I miss being there all the time. That's what I'm after now. I want to be on set every day. But is that realistic? I can't control that. I can only control what I can. And you can control having another job that makes you happy. And that's what serendipitously happened for me after I came out of Echoes. And thank God it did, because I think if I had the opportunity to walk away from that experience and commit to fully being a working actor. But having my brain channel to other areas that weren't just acting was really beneficial. And then I was on a movie for 2 months after that. So it kind of all worked together. But the emotional aspect, I don't know how other people feel when they are a series regular and they rap or something like that, or a giant movie. Like I wonder what the Avengers rap day looked like,
Gosh, yeah.
I have no idea. I can imagine the emotions, but I'm a highly emotional person. So for me, it was like, am I ever going to have anything like this ever again? Like, this has been so nice. I've learned so much. I had the gratitude aspect of it, but I journaled every single day I was there. Like I have all the memories for me, and I can always tap back into that feeling. And I don't think everyone always feels that way about projects. Sometimes you go on them and they're not ideal, or you're not feeling super grateful for certain things, or you're like ready for it to be over, right? It was this bittersweet of like, I'm ready for something else, but I am so sad that I don't get to come back every day and be with these people. And then I get to see these people randomly through my career otherwise, and that part is really beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say is the biggest thing that you've learned from that experience, would you say?
How you show up to set mentally, physically, energetically matters more than you realize. And I'm not saying to set when you're about to go perform. I'm saying the second you talk to the first person from production, like how you communicate, how you present yourself, it matters, because how you show up will affect everyone around you, good or bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think that comes up a lot, and it's I feel like I just had this realization because I just immediately thought of like how I show up, and I thought about everybody else and usually how they show up too. And I'm like, I do feel like most of the time, well, I don't know, maybe you might have a different experience with this being on for 6 months and seeing the different types of people that show up. Yeah. I'm like, I feel like most people that are there, from wardrobe to stunts to, just everyone, is like, they really do try and show up as the best version of themselves. And like, I think that's what you should be doing. Yeah,
I think when you're there for an extended period of time, right, you get to know people and how they show up. So I had to wear a wig every day. This is just a small example of this. And the same lady put my wig on all the time, but it was like 2 months in, she started to get really tired, and she was like peeling my scalp off. It was fine. I mean, my job was to sit there and take it. And not the peeling the scalp off. I'm just saying that if you've ever worn a wig like that, it hurts. They're just like bobby pinning your head. when you do it every day, it starts to hurt for a while. Anyways, my point in saying this, day one, everyone's lovely and shiny and bright, and you see the best of them. So you go in 2 months and say, I was just coming in from a co-star that day, and I don't know how tired this person is, and they seem a bit grumpy, right? Then I'm going to think that this person doesn't like me. There's something that I'm doing wrong. And it's like, no, they're just tired and they're having an off day.
Right.
And I think we don't think about that when we go on set. And it's like, we're so emotional in general. It's like one thing happens and we're like, oh my God, I did something wrong, or no one likes me here. I don't deserve to be here. You know, that imposter syndrome immediately hits you in the face. And it's like, you have the control to continue to be kind and positive, and sometimes being quiet and letting other people have their feelings and emotions, and you don't need to help them or be involved. You just need to be present and be a safe space to be around, because you're around people who are working their asses off. I almost said, okay. You're around people who are working their asses off, and you're coming in for one day and seeing a glimpse of it, and you can't make assumptions or judge the people there or the whole set based on that one day, because we don't know everything that led up to that moment.
Right. Yeah. Adrian, I mean, that whole story, I mean, that whole experience just sounds magical. You know, also a bit heartbreaking all at the same time for it to end, like you were saying. And I feel like we can like just continue to talk about this. I feel like we could just like really dissect it more and more. But I think instead we have to go to our spotlight sign off, which is 5 questions to end strong.
Oh, God. Okay.
So question number 1 is, what's something you're super grateful for today?
I write down 3 things I'm grateful for every morning. And my first thing this morning was my robe.
Your
so
robe?
I'm I have this fuzzy robe and it makes me really happy. And so today it was my robe. Nice. But I'm also really grateful to be here and that we're doing this.
Yes. Well, going back to robes though, you know, I used to be so good at wearing my robe like every day, and now I don't wear my robe at all anymore.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe because it's like, you know what? I know why. Candace, this is going to Candace right now, is that, you know, she's usually keeping the house hot. And so I can't have a robe on in a hot house. I'm just going to sweat immediately.
Yeah.
So like during the winter time, I maybe will get the robe in a little bit more. Actually, Candace also, I'll now I give credit to Candace. She did get me a very nice, like kind of like silky.
I was going to say we need to get you silk.
Yeah, like flowy robe that I could wear. So I guess I just need to remember to wear it. I don't know. It just depends what the morning's looking like. Sometimes I'm just hitting the ground running, kind of, you know?
Yeah, you know, it's like, it's a cozy thing for me. Like,
yes.
It's like I'm wearing a blanket and I don't have to hold the blanket.
Does it slow you down though? I feel like if I put the robe on, I'm like, I'm not doing anything today.
No, I stretch in it. I do my whole morning routine
in it.
Oh,
okay, nice.
I probably should get a new one now that I'm actually thinking about it. I'm like, I've had this one for a while. And now I'm like thinking about all the things I do in this robe. I'm like, maybe.
Just throw that thing in the washer, you know? It just needs a good wash. Candace's robe, because she would have it when she cooks, all of her sleeves are like charred.
My robe is white, so it's like it's not hiding anything. And it intentionally is that way because I'm like, I need to know when I need to wash this thing.
All right. Well, maybe right now we'll have a picture of Adrian's robe, and it'll go right there.
It's one of my favorite parts of being on set when they give you the robe. You're like, oh my God. Yes, and the slippers. It's like I'm at home. Okay.
Yep. Nice. Yeah. Second question is there a film, TV show, or book that changed the trajectory of your life?
Whoa. Can you just ask it again so I can process?
Yeah. Is there a film, television show, or book that changed the trajectory of your life?
Yes. 2 books came to mind. One is The Universe Has Your Back by Gabby Bernstein, and the other is The Artist's Way, which I started doing day 1 of Echoes.
Oh, nice.
So which one changed my life? I don't know. No, they both did. But The Artist's Way, the thing I said earlier, by creating, I'm serving my creator, that's from that book. And when I commit to something, I do it 100%. And I did every little thing I was supposed to do in that book, and it was the best thing ever.
I love that. I think I know. Well, the next question is, what's something you cherish in your morning routine? But now I'm wondering if the robe is coming back.
Yeah. Actually refers to the book, The Artist's Way, morning pages. Basically, it's like word vomit on a page when you first wake up. You write 3 pages. That's something I really cherish. And obviously working out.
Yeah. You like to work out.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. You and Candace are the same there.
Yeah. We got to stay superhuman.
Okay. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Question 4 is, what is something you're currently trying to improve in your life right now?
I am. So acting, when we get auditions, we get to create, and it's so lovely and amazing. And for my job, my other job, I'm mostly creating for other people. And right now I'm trying to improve on creating some stuff for myself.
Social media wise. Or...
Yes. And still navigating what it is. It's kind of like throwing shit at a wall, and like I'm figuring it out as I go. Okay. But all I know is it makes me happy to create for me. Mm-hmm. Like you doing this, like this is so cool. And this isn't even necessarily for you. It's for so many people, but this was your idea. It's something that you're creating right now that isn't acting. And that's so beautiful and has to feel so like aligned with what you want in life.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it was made to serve, right? And that's what, I mean, if I could give a little bit of advice right now when it comes to trying to figure that out, whether it be for you or the listeners right now, is like, if you focus it on serving other people, how can it serve others? I feel like that is really the key. And like, then selfishly, I love it because like, I mean, whenever, and actually, I mean, we've known each other a long time. Have we been like, Adrian, you and I are going to sit down. Our phones are going to be on Do Not Disturb. We're going to talk for an hour, just you and me. We're going to be focused only on each other. Like, never.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? And so selfishly, I'm like, I didn't realize I would get that from the podcast. And that really is beautiful. And I do love that a lot.
And that's connecting. That's what we want to do as actors. And so, yeah, creating as a form of connection or whatever it may be. Right now, I'm trying to find other ways to create that, make like that feels good, that it's serving somebody else outside of myself. Because even if you do an audition, it's like you're creating, but who's it serving in that moment besides maybe your reader? You know, it's like it may never go anywhere, but we have the ability to impact other people and serve whatever we feel inspired to do. And I think that that's really something I'm focused on improving in my life right now when I have time, which don't have that much time all the time. Very busy woman.
Well, you have all the time that you need, and you will utilize that time exactly how you need to accomplish this goal.
Yeah. Balancing act always.
All right. Last question. We went over a bunch of cool stuff. So it might be something we already talked about that you want to hit home again, or it might be something brand new. But if you wanted the listeners all to get one thing for sure, what would it be?
The quality of your work is dependent on the quality of your life.
Damn. Let's go.
Boom.
Mic drop. Hit him with a solid just quote that sounded good. Let's go.
I literally just thought of that.
That was really good.
I just created that.
That was great. That was good shit right there.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, Adrian, wonderful to have you. Thank you so much for spending some time with me and with us. It was really wonderful.
Thank you so much for having me, Jesse.
You're welcome. Everyone, thank you for being here. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave us a review if you are enjoying this podcast. It really just helps the podcast so much. And if you enjoyed this episode, send it to a friend. Until then, we will see you on the next one.